Hello, I'm Michael Butler, Chief Executive Officer for the Tennessee Wildlife Federation.
And I'm Kendall McCarter, Chief Development Officer for the Federation. The Federation is an independent nonprofit dedicated to conserving Tennessee's wildlife and natural resources. This year, the Federation is celebrating its 75th anniversary. As one of the oldest and largest conservation organizations in Tennessee, we want to say thank you to everyone who has supported us over the decades. We've been able to accomplish some incredible things for our great outdoors together, and we look forward to sharing future conservation successes with you.
Tennessee Wildlife Federation has been hosting our Conservation Achievement Awards for more than half a century. The awards recognize those making outstanding contributions to our state's wild places and brings together conservationists with varying interests, backgrounds, and viewpoints. Past winners have included senators, international companies, conservation professionals, and lifelong volunteers from every corner of the state.
We're honored to recognize those who have gone above and beyond for Tennessee's natural places. So without further ado, it's our pleasure to present to you all the winners of the 56th Annual Conservation Achievement Awards.
I was born in 1940. The park was created 3 or 4 years earlier. So I kind of grew up with the park, and we were up here almost every weekend. So I got to learn about the flowers and the lightning bugs and how to live with the bears who crawled into your camp shelter at night. And so I grew up in the outdoors. You find yourself out there. I mean, you get closer to nature, closer to God. It's just the natural state of things. And I really appreciated whoever, and I learned it was the Rockefellers and the people of Tennessee and North Carolina, whoever gave us this playground that we could enjoy, and I wanted to make sure that my kids and grandkids could do the same.
Senator Lamar Alexander has saved his best work at the last here, and that's the passing of the Great Americans Outdoors Act. With this being the most visited national park, we are very appreciative of Senator Alexander's accomplishment of getting the Great Americans Outdoors Act passed, because our facilities, as you know, with having almost 13 million visitors of what we're expecting, our facilities were built back in the 60s. So imagine 13 million people coming through your home, right? And the deferred maintenance that comes with that much usage couldn't have come at a better time of having this law passed.
Well, I learned a long time ago that you don't do anything by yourself. The Great American Outdoors Act was the biggest investment in the national parks like the Smokies since the Eisenhower years. But it never would have happened if we hadn't had 800 outside organizations, including the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, telling senators and congressmen, you better vote for this. This is important for the country and we're watching you. But the thing closest to me is that over the last 40 years, a few families, and ours is one of them, have bought and preserved about 8,000 to 10,000 acres along this ridge, this entrance into the Smokies, and then given it to a conservation easement so it can never be developed. That means people driving into the Smokies through Townsend forever will have a good view of Chilhowie Mountain. And I'm happiest about that in many ways.
I want to congratulate Senator Alexander on this award. I've had a chance to work with him over the years in different ways on conservation issues. I've always found him to be a great friend of conservation. Congratulations, Senator, a richly deserved award.
Senator, I am going to miss you, already miss you, but I know you have other things to do, but I just know here at the Smokies, I'm very, very proud of you as a professional and working with you and getting great things done here in the park. But also just as a great human being, you're one of a kind, sir, and there'd be no other that can replace this big gap of accomplishments that you've done for the National Park Service in the whole. So God bless, and you take care.
Personally, for me, conservation is about stewardship. When I look at the disappearance of open space and the enjoyment of it, I want to work towards preserving more of it. And that's why I've spent my time and commitment outside my regular day job as a developer of senior housing across the Southeast, looking at ways to preserve open space, farms, hunting and fishing lands, and land to enjoy across the state.
Greg is the kind of conservationist a conservation organization dreams about. He has a vision for conservation in Tennessee, and I don't just mean in his corner of Tennessee, but across the state, that is extraordinary. And we are so excited to be partnering with him.
As a developer at heart, I need to find a balance between job creation and land that we can preserve. I got involved with conservation easements on my personal property, and one of my neighbors started out as a cattle ranch as part of a larger farm. We now have habitat for hunting, some wildlife areas, we have some crops that we grow, and then we also have quite a few festivals and events here where we invite the community in to celebrate the buffalo that we have here on the 90 acres.
Greg loves land, and he wants everybody else to love the land, so he generously opens his place up every year to the community. And they have a huge celebration, the blessing of the buffalo, and it really gets the community to buy into conservation.
Tennessee's growing. People are choosing to move to Tennessee because we're a great state, because of business, or taxation, or quality of life. But one of those quality of life issues is our open space and land. So we've all got to work together, protecting our rivers and our creeks and our open spaces and hunting and fishing and agriculture so that we have another asset for people to enjoy if they live in a subdivision in a developed area.
I and the entire team of the Land Trust for Tennessee, including our board, our staff, our board members emeriti, and others, congratulate Greg Vidal on this very well-deserved award.
One of our core tenets from our founder actually many years ago was a term called servant society with superior quality. And the thought process behind it is a company that just exists for profit only and doesn't return to society won't be sustainable in the long run. Which leads us to Chestnut Mountain. Many years ago, corporations would have things like golf courses or retreats for their employees and their teammates. And so 70 years ago, the corporation, which was Firestone at the time, started buying up property. The purpose of it was to have a corporate retreat. So it was going to have a really nicely designed golf course, a lake, all these kind of things that corporations at the time did. You know, if you think about this, for about 7 years, this piece of land, which is 6,000 acres, was off limits to anyone but a few people, which isn't the greatest value to society in our opinion. So we thought about, well, what's the best overall value of this property? What could we do with it? Sale was obviously one of the potentials we could have done. But in line with our mission statement and other things, we were able to ultimately donate the property with some tenants in the easement to enhance it and preserve it.
So in 2018, the Tennessee chapter of the Nature Conservancy was gifted the largest land donation in the chapter's 40-year history, which is the Bridgestone Nature Reserve at Chestnut Mountain. And so that became this beautiful partnership with Bridgestone and the Nature Conservancy. They were incredibly receptive and supportive to the idea of forest conservation and forest restoration, and looked to us as the experts to try and help them manage the forest in a sustainable way. So Bridgestone is recognized worldwide, but having them based right near us in Nashville, Tennessee, and having a reserve that shares their namesake is important to not only the state of Tennessee, but also to the community as well. Just knowing that they are a partner in our forest conservation work and have been there every step of the way means a lot to us.
It's really a great sense of pride that we all feel, that we know that this land will be preserved, forever. In the future, it's going to be open to the public, and that was one of the tenets of our donation, so that the average citizen in Tennessee can get out there and enjoy the beautiful nature and the scenery of this particular property. And as the project lead for this, representing a large number of people, I want to say thank you to all of them. It was 2 years of day in, day out effort, and every agency and group that was participatory in getting this award should share and feel a piece of it as well. So thank you very much.
Every time I look out my back window and see a bird chirping, I think, wow, okay, the work that I do every day supports that animal. You know, every piece of wildlife in the state, they're benefiting from the work that I do, and that's so gratifying. And you know, it's humbling to think that we work for the agency that is responsible for supporting all of those critters. It's an honor. It's my passion. It keeps me going.
Jennifer has been with the agency just a few years, but the changes she's brought have been remarkable. The agency had a record year in license sales, and I think that's where opportunity met preparation. She was a big part of that preparation with what they've been doing at the agency to market license sales and generate more revenue for conservation.
The title is Chief of Outreach and Communication, but what that means is I'm in charge of the team that puts out every communication that the agency does. You know, it's funny, the first couple of weeks on the job, we got really terrible news that Tennessee was going to be positive for chronic wasting disease. So I feel like I came into a role, and it was right when TWRA needed somebody that had my skill set. So I got to really get in there and use my expertise right away and educate people about the disease and what's happening in Tennessee with it. You know, there's these terrible things that are happening in wildlife. Then on the other side, there's these great things that are happening in wildlife. There is one silver lining to this pandemic. It's been people rediscovering the outdoors. Hunting and fishing has been part of that. So people have come back in droves to hunting and fishing that used to do it a long time ago. The thing that we sell that funds us 100% is fishing licenses and hunting licenses. And without the sale of those, wildlife conservation in Tennessee ceases to be. And we do a lot of marketing and events and things to try to encourage people to come back to the outdoors or get into the outdoors.
We just want to say congratulations, Jennifer. Job well done. We expect to see you around for a long time and great things to come. Thank you.
I would be remiss if I didn't say a big thank you to Michael May and Bobby Wilson for all of the great work that they've allowed me to do, and they give me such great support and the budget that I need to do the things that I do. And so, I give many thanks to them in the director's office. And a big thank you to the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. Y'all are great partners to work with, and I've really enjoyed the support from partners like this and the recognition. So thank you so much.
A Chattanooga boy is getting some help in his effort to save fish in the Tennessee River. Cash Daniels is known as the Conservation Kid.
My full name is Nolan Cash Daniels, and I'm 11 years old from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I do river cleanups. I have my own river mile that we can get like 10 buckets full in like an hour. The Tennessee River is actually the most polluted with microplastics than any other river tested in the world. So that's why I specifically target rivers.
When he sees a need as far as conservation or saving nature, he's on it. He's not talking about it, he's doing something about it.
I was wondering how I could help because I was in Tennessee. So the receptacles are for fishing line, and we get a lot of fishing line. And it's very important to get rid of fishing line because it can get entangled. It can tie around their animals and trap them to logs. This is just from 2 receptacles today. I have 16 out right now, so I really want to put more up. And I also want to do bigger and bigger cleanups. And we hope to inspire other kids to do what we're doing by picking up 1 million pieces of trash by the end of the year.
Someone so young can teach people my age to change the way I look at things. It's this younger generation that's going to change the world, people like Cash. I definitely think he deserves the award. You're doing an awesome job, and I'm really proud of you.
You're never too old or young to do it. Get out there, and if someone says you can't do it, prove them wrong and get out there and do it.